The original meme just basically said that women do the work spiritually
Yeah.
and would abstain from sex, but men don't, and we're trying to establish if that is true or not.
Some men do, but for different reasons. Like I just said to you, some men would say, "Oh, I'm not on that. I'm doing this." No, you probably your game is weak, and you've been getting so much bun that's what you're saying to redeem yourself.
Olu.
No. Yeah.
Olu, been getting so much fun, you know. Evening all.
Evening, how's it going?
It's all right. I was just saying, this schizophrenic weather, man. Like the kids go back to school and then it's like 28 degrees. Are they crazy?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was literally just saying that the other day. Now that we've gone back to school, that's when work and the holiday's truly over. That's when you want to give us heat wave after they've been promising heat wave the whole.
It's from August, the beginning of August.
It's the lies for me.
It's ridiculous, and we all can't go on holiday to listen. It's just
I
even
know.
worse.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How have you been?
I've been all right, you know, a bit stressy, but you know, I've got things going on that are just stressing me. But yeah, I've been all right. So yeah, you know, I'm on my my journey to leave London, so it's just
I know. So how's that going? Are you on your way out?
It's going. That. Yeah, it's going. We haven't got any other news yet, but it's
happening, isn't it?
It's happening. Oh yeah. It's definitely happening. It's just when. Yeah.
It's just when.
Yeah. But don't worry, I'll still be about. You know me.
Yeah, you haven't got a choice. We're not having it, mate. You haven't got a choice.
Isn't it? So how's your lot been? Your boys back at school?
They're back at school. They started school on Monday. They're back in. I don't know. I don't like school, you know.
Really?
I never really have. Like, I've never, even when Sharon was small, I never really liked sending them in. I just felt like I was giving them to the people. I always get a little bit like, when it's time to send them to school, because we are looking into homeschooling. For like a myriad of reasons, but yeah, they're back to school and it's just like back to the same kind of routine. But they were happy to go back, so I'm just like, okay, well, they're happy to go back, so let them go on, innit? Yeah, let them go and go about their business. We've got a good show today. Trisha should be joining us at some point today. Yes. Good. So I know that everyone misses her and can't wait to see her. We've got Symply Devine. She's our special guest today. Long time she's supposed to have joined us, but
from ages ago, isn't it?
From ages ago, but it's literally been one thing after the other, as if to say, like, this ain't meant to be.
Well,
but it's finally happening. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen today. So yeah, we've got Symply Devine tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. I think Olu might jump on, so it might have a little bit of a packed.
We need a bit of a good.
Show. If I crack up and do all of that, I still, because I'm in a new build, so this where I am is a new build, and they're struggling to get broadband.
Any kind of broadband.
So I'm literally using data. So if I cut out or if any madness happens, then it's that. I'm literally at this moment trying to log on to Facebook on my other phone, but it's not having it.
Oh no.
So so I'm not ignoring anyone. I just can't log in on this phone. Don't know why, but why not? Why not?
Well, I've got all the slides up and ready for us to chop it all up.
Ready.
Yes.
Is Symply Devine? Is she?
She's ready to admit. I'll admit her in. Let's admit. Is she there? Right, she must be. There we go.
Hey. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you, guys.
Good.
Lovely to have you. I was just saying that we've been trying to have you on for ages, and it's literally been one thing after the other, and we're like, what is going on?
You know, they say that nothing happens before its time.
Yeah, I'm getting to know that.
Exactly. It's so lovely to have you on today. Thank you for joining us and being so patient with us.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I didn't even get time to put my face on today, so I'm all natural.
Yeah, but all natural, gorgeous.
What we like.
Same way.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
same way, gorgeous.
And you guys too.
So
mean,
how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, what's been keeping me so busy that I couldn't put my face on is that I have a new puppy.
Oh.
So I got a puppy for my son, but it's like having a child.
It is.
Oh my goodness. It's like I've got a toddler in my house. I don't have time to do anything.
Yeah.
I can't even go to the toilet in peace because the dog's crying. So earlier on, I took him to the vet and the vet tried to bump me.
Oh, right.
No. And I don't know, maybe we can talk a little bit about assertiveness, why it's so important to be assertive.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was time for me to pay, they said £84. I said, £84? £84 for what? He's just had an injection. So during the injection, I was asking a few questions. So the lady said, oh, that's because you had a consultation.
Oh, sorry.
I said, excuse me. I said, I was asking the vet questions while he was vaccinating the puppy and questions relevant to the puppy. If I was going to be charged £50 to answer 3 questions, he should have made me aware of that fact.
And you would have zipped it.
Exactly.
And it's not extra time. He was doing it while he was vaccinating the animal.
Vaccinating the puppy, exactly. So what it made me think about is like some of our elders. So where I'm very assertive, and she says, "Oh, okay, I'll take it off." I goes, "Yes, you will take it off because I wasn't being made aware that I'm being charged a consultation fee." So can you imagine all the older people go to the vet, ask a few questions about their cat or their dog, and then at the end of it, they're charged an additional £50. So I was quite lucky. My final bill was $25.90. I said, "Yep, that's right."
Yeah, know yourself.
Look at that.
And they tried to add basically nearly £60.
Yeah, because the man answered a couple of questions.
And he tried to convince me that I needed to buy worming tablets. So when I calculated it, like they were trying to charge me £84. That's £30 for the tablet, so I could go to Pets at Home and get it for $7.99. So for all of you dog owners and stuff, don't buy your meds from the vets.
No.
But on a serious note, I just, dread to think about all the elderly people that, go to places and they're charged money, but they don't have that, they're not able to kind of articulate and ask questions and refuse to pay.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. But it happened to, something like that happened to my gran when she was around. And she thought that she was getting some good deal, and she ended, this man came, I don't even know what he was selling her, but she ended up buying something. And then when she checked her bank statement, like, I don't know, 3-4 months later, this person had taken like £200 out every month.
Oh, wow.
I was livid. I was fuming. I sent emails. I was phoning to the point where I got my friend who was a solicitor, and I said to her, "You know what? Write a threatening letter for me, please." My gran got a response and a refund with compensation within 2 weeks of that letter being written.
Good. And that's the thing. As a people, we tend to let things go.
No.
A lot. We tend to think, "Oh, it's okay," but actually, no. When you do stand up for yourself and you articulate yourself, you either get an apology, you get, like your gran got her money back, got a refund, and I think we should be doing this more. The injustices.
Yeah, because they're out there. Them sharks are out there, mate.
Definitely.
They are. No, they tried it, but the wrong one. It was the right place, wrong one.
The receptionist looked scared. She was like, "Okay, I'll take that off for you." Yes, you will take it off.
Yes, you will. What does Tia say? Expeditiously or whatever.
Expeditiously. I was like, "I'm not paying £80. Keep the dog." I'll be like, "Keep."
What dog is it?
An XL bully, and everyone's telling me that it's going to be like a horse in my house, and apparently it's going to be quite big.
Is it big? It's going to get big.
Is he really cute now?
He's really cute. I sent him upstairs because he was yapping in the background, and I said, "Look, it doesn't sound professional. You know, I've been waiting for a long time to come on No Bravado, so I can't have the dog going in the background to spoil the lovely lady's show." So he's upstairs.
Oh, well, you've got to show us him one time at some point. I do love a puppy. We do love a puppy.
You can puppy sit him if you like.
Oh God, no. Oh.
Nikki's like, no.
Don't do animals, but my kids do, and my husband does. They love them. But I said when we get a house, we can get a dog. But I'm not, like you said. To me, that's another child, and I don't want to.
It is. You have to be really committed, and I think you have to be prepared mentally, because it is a lot, and you're, you know, even thinking about something as simple as doing a live. There's a lot more planning that goes into it now.
Yeah.
You know, I do other things on the side. I'm thinking, well, how am I going to see my clients? How, you know, because now I've got to think about dog sitter.
It's a lot.
Dog sitter, you know.
Yeah. And that brings me to my next point. I was going to say, you're a very, very popular lady.
Me?
But yeah. But for those that may not know, can you tell them a little bit more about yourself? And for the audience, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you're about, so they can get a little intro.
Hi everyone, I'm Symply Devine, and I'm also a talk show host and radio presenter, a woman's empowerment and confidence advocate. I also advocate for young people as well. I'm a fully trained spiritual healer. So I'm trained in Reiki, and also I'm training in something now called Tao Healing Hands, which is a Chinese modality of healing, which is very powerful, that works on the soul. So Reiki works on the energy centers, and then I train as well for exercise that works on the body, and then the Tao Hands works on the soul, because as we know, the soul is boss. When the soul's right, the mind's right, and then the body can be right.
Absolutely.
And I'm a mother of two. 23-year-old.
No way.
Yeah, I have a 23-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son, and naturally I'm a soccer mum as well, so my life evolves a lot around football. And I have a day job. I work for a local authority, and I work doing like project management for young people.
Ah, amazing. When do you sleep?
Isn't it? That's a lot.
You see the bags. I hardly ever sleep. And I don't know, I'm also a fully trained massage therapist, hence why I spoke about clients earlier. So I feel like massage goes hand in hand with the healing and that whole kind of holistic service that I can offer someone, especially like women. And now I do want to kind of like go into treating men more holistically, because we know that our brothers also go through a lot of trauma and stuff, and you know, want to be able to kind of rebuild their faith in women, because we know I feel that men suffer more when the relationship breaks down. I think for the women, we have our children, we have to pull ourselves together to kind of take care of the children, but I feel it's a lot harder for the men. So at some point I'll be offering some services, healing services. Let me specify.
Healing and coaching on how to not let the ego take over.
Yes, definitely. And for men to know themselves as well. You know, us women, we have all this, you know yourself, love yourself, but it's important for our men as well.
Definitely.
That's good. That's really good. What made you, what led to this kind of path, if you don't mind me?
Well, my brother was murdered in 2015. He was a victim of knife crime. Thank you. And I think when you've been through that deep trauma, you either go one of two ways. So, you know, sometimes you sink, you know, some people go into depression. And for me, it was like, what positives can I get out of this situation? What can I do to help other young people, to, you know, heal myself, and also to tell my story and give other people hope and inspiration, because not only did my brother get killed, my dad had a brain tumor literally following week, and then my 5-year relationship came to an end, like 2 weeks after my brother's celebration of life, his send-off. And so that was like,
but you had your own traumas to deal with.
yeah.
Yeah.
3 very traumatic, life-changing events took place in the space of 8 weeks. And what people kept saying to me was like, you're so positive and, you know, you're still smiling. And if we didn't know what had happened to you, we'd never believe it because you're just still so vibrant. And I explained that, I started to think about it. And I was like, do you know what? It's the positive mental attitude, because I have like a solution mentality. What can I take from these events? And I always laugh when I say this. So with the relationship breakdown, I was like, yeah, no more cooking up big pot on a Sunday. I can go to bed when I want to go to bed.
On your own.
Yeah, you know, I try to look at the positives. Also, I can find myself again, because when you're in a relationship, sometimes you can often lose the essence of who you are in always trying to please your partner and please the children. So I saw it as an opportunity for growth. So instead of looking at what I was losing, i.e. my 5-year relationship, I started to look at, okay, what am I gaining? I'm gaining me, I'm gaining my freedom, I can date. I can get to experience like different
choose
people.
and refuse, isn't it? Do what you want.
And yeah, I had a fabulous time dating. Like, you look out for the book.
Oh, we will be, because I'm gonna need it. Because I think I'm where you are. I'm right now. I'm where you was, where I've lost myself in like 10-year engagement, kids, and I really lost myself. So literally, I'm literally just on the rediscovery, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Whereas when I was in the relationship, I felt like I couldn't imagine enjoying not being with that person, or like what it would be like without them. But I did get to the point where I was like, I can't. I didn't want to, but I just couldn't.
Yeah. It's about the mind. It's so powerful, where we convince ourselves that we need that person, or we convince ourselves that we have to stay in that job we're not happy in, or we need to stay friends with the person who takes the mick with us. But when you kind of have that control over your mind, and you realize that actually it's not that I do need this person, it's that I think I need this person, and you reframe your thoughts to say, hold on a minute, before this person came along, I was paying my bills. Before this person came along, I was an independent woman. Before this person came along, I could smile, I was going out with my friends, I was doing me. Once you kind of remember that, and reframe those thoughts of like needing that person, and you're able to let go, it's like you get a new lease of life. And you know,
that's it.
Completely.
It's like I was born again, honestly. You know,
and I do. Sorry, no, go for it.
One of the main things that people kept saying to me, which I always laugh about it, they're like, have you been on holiday? And I'm like,
because you're glowing.
Yeah.
You're glowing, girl.
You look so beautiful, like, and I'm like, do you know why? Because I dropped the weight. You know, all of that was oppressing my aura, oppressing my spirit.
That's the word I was looking for, because we have it, don't we? When we're sad and we're down and you've got the pressures, you know, your aura's not kind of clear, it's all foggy and it's dark. But once you shed yourself, like a snake, you know, you shed that old skin, and you're reborn.
And you literally feel the weight. You literally feel like the weight lifted off you. You know, and then you feel free to pursue your dreams, like start a podcast, start a new business. It's like you have that confidence, because you're not bogged down with the thoughts of the relationship and all the dramas. You're not wasting energy replaying all the negative aspects of the relationship. So your mind is free to be able to think positive thoughts to elevate you to the next levels.
The way you're in my head, girl. Seriously, it's so hard to explain it, and I feel like, oh my gosh, she's just explained it. Because when you try to explain it, you're like, I don't know, I just feel like I've got a new lease of life. I feel like I've got a new lease of life, or I've got a bit my old self back, and a new me as well. And it is that, I don't worry about no one's son. as they like to say. I'm not worrying about the things that I don't have those stresses, and you don't realize how much those stresses like destroy you little bit by little bit.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
literally, it's like someone's on your shoulders just
Holding
pressing
you
you down.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
what it is, when we get into relationships and also friendships, because a friendship is a relationship,
Yeah.
and also like within the working environment, when we're in close proximity with people, we can absorb their energy. So especially when things are not going right, and I only know this because of all the spiritual kind of work I've done to become a Reiki practitioner. So when you mesh with that person's energy, whatever they're carrying becomes a part of us. And then when things are not going right, we're not in alignment because we're unhappy, it dulls our shine because we're carrying all the drama, the arguments, the bad feelings, everything stays with us. So when you break away from the situation, all of that energy gets cleared. Sometimes it doesn't happen straight away. Some people get quite sad. It takes a few months. Some people it's a few weeks. Some people it's a few years. It took me a whole year before I was ready to date again. But I just felt light because I no longer had that oppressive energy on me, around me, or in me. Because don't forget, when we're having sex, we are constantly absorbing that
spiritual
energy.
Yeah, agreed.
And as women, we are the vessels, so we probably absorb it, and it affects us a lot more because we're absorbing it internally, and that's why we get issues with the root chakra. That's a whole nother show.
We're gonna do that show because this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is our thing as well, and this is the conversation. One of the reasons why we started Bravado is because these are the conversations we had. As we said, we could talk about, and with the guys as well that were on it before, we would be able to talk about why do men cheat to astral projection. It can go from where to here, and so but in our own way, and we just kind of wanted to bring those conversations, those natural conversations on air. So
It's
Trish was like, podcast, man.
Yeah, because a lot of people have them behind closed doors, or a lot of people don't know about these things. So your platform is really important as a tool of informing people. Because it's only kind of now that I'm in the spiritual realm that I'm having more and more of these conversations. But 6-7 years ago, when I needed it, or not 6, probably 10 years ago when I needed it, there was nowhere for me to go to find out this information. I didn't know about, blockages in the root chakra, and we've gone through certain traumas like sexual abuse and rape, how it affects you, spiritually and energetically. It's only now that more and more people are kind of educating themselves and talking about it because of your platform, my platform, and some of the other platforms that are out there.
That's a way of releasing as well, isn't it? By talking about it, by healing, and shedding it. That's how we move forward and grow as a person. And that's what I know that my parents didn't do it, and I know my grandparents didn't do it, and there was a lot of stuff that they took to their graves with them, which I think took them to their graves. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's lots of things that you didn't want to talk about, you didn't want to share, you couldn't say this, you couldn't say that. Nowadays, like, talking is the best therapy. It's the best therapy. Like, and you just don't know someone's story. You look at someone and you think, oh, well, she's got a nice car and a nice house and this, that, and the other, but you don't know what's going on when she goes home.
Exactly. What was just on that point of not knowing someone's story, when I left the gym on Sunday, I saw a guy and he looked like I've been watching him train. I was like, oh, he's really lost a lot of weight. And I just felt compelled to say something. So I said to him, wow, you're looking really well. You've lost a lot of weight. And then he just went, I lost my mum. I was just like, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. And then he started going into just talk. When I say
he needed that.
Talking. I was there for about a good 40 minutes. And I said to myself, everything happens for a reason. If I didn't leave the gym at that time and he wasn't coming at that time, and if I didn't turn around and say, oh, excuse me, you've lost a lot of weight, and you could see that he needed to get it out.
Release,
And so, talking is a good therapy, but also at the right time, because one of the things that I learned, when we talk about things, we give it energy. So if you are trying to, you're breaking up with your partner, sometimes the constant talking about it can keep bringing the pain to the surface. So sometimes you need that time of not discussing it with people, not processing on your own. Then once you've got to a point, then you can talk about it.
And heal.
Yeah. But in the beginning, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't, because I knew the questions would come. Oh my God, that nice guy. Oh my God, you're not together. Oh my God, what did you do? Oh my God, he was so nice. Da, 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 da. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to have to deal with that. So I didn't tell anybody. If he told people, that was up to him. But I didn't say a word. It was after 6 months, I was like, right, now I can talk about it. And I never, you know, not in a way of bad mouthing him, but in a way of, you know what, it was something I had to do for myself. I was grieving over my brother. I was stressed with my dad, and I didn't need an additional stress on me. And now I can talk about it long on podcasts, radio, you know, without feeling affected by it.
And I always feel that, you know, as women, the other thing we've got to get our minds around is like, if we do break up with a partner or our partner cheats on us.
Sorry guys, I am here. 1 second, the format on my phone's gone, so I might be blank just for a second, but I'm here.
Or something like that goes on, you know, we also want to carry that burden like it's our shame. It's not our shame. Why should I be embarrassed because someone's cheated on me? That's not my embarrassment. That's, you know, but again, like you said, everything at the right time.
At the right time, I always feel embarrassed, because the thing is, I always used to say to myself, I'm not the first person this has happened to. Even in what happened with my brother, I'm like, right, we're not the first family, we're not going to be the only family, but what can I do? Relationship breakup, not the first breakup, it won't be the last breakup. You know, there's no shame. Your partner cheats on you, that says more about them than it does about you.
Exactly. And that's how I feel about all of that. I mean, and it's taken me a long time to get to that point of like, do you know what, like you said, you know, unhealthy relationships ain't doing no one no good. And I could be related to you by blood or by whatever it is. If it's not healthy and it's not conducive to me, then I'm sorry, it has to go.
Because we're not trees. I remember, like, I was in a role at work and
trees, you know.
It's true, and I didn't get on with my manager, and everyone kept saying, you're good, you know, I don't know how you deal with that woman, you're good. And then one day I said to myself, hold on a minute, the only person keeping me in this team is me, because I haven't applied to get out of the team. And I'm like, I'm not a tree, I'm not fixed to this position. Why am I putting up with this foolishness every day of my life from this person? And I was like, nah, I'm getting out of it. I actually said it, I put it out there to the ether. I'm like, by January, I want to be out of this. I mean, it took till August, but in January, I saw the role and I applied for it. But it was when I changed my mindset to actually, there's nothing that says you have to stay in this team. It's not the only team. It's not the only role. You know, you can move forward.
Definitely. And you know, we need to look at all different aspects of our life like that. Because we can. It's the only thing that's stopping us from doing anything is us.
It's us.
That's it.
It's us. Sorry.
Control how someone else
100%.
thinks, how someone else wants to talk to you. All you can do is control what you're willing to put up with and your response to that person.
Exactly.
And in your responses, they will either change or they will continue. And if they continue, then you have to remove yourself from the situation. You can't make the other person move, but you're in full control of yourself.
Completely agree.
And that's one thing that I you kind of know, in like, if you say you know it but you don't know it, so you know that you know the words, but it doesn't resonate properly. You don't understand it until you have to understand it, and you realize it doesn't matter what anyone does. It's what's important is how I respond, because how I respond is a reflection of where I am spiritually, where I am, like where I am. So how I respond is what's going to tell me everything, not necessarily what that person done to me, because everything that we do and others do is projection. So whatever I then put out there from that. So when I was mad at my ex, or when I was mad and I was mad at this, and I was like, but the reason why you felt like this for so long is because you dealt with this for so long, or you reacted in this way. You had a choice. And I realized I had a choice of what to do, really, and I didn't want to go the hard route.
Yeah, you were
At
mad
the time.
at
I didn't want to do the work.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you're mad at other people. You're not mad at other person. You're mad at yourself for putting up with whatever it is you're putting up with. So all the person comes home and your face is pushed up and you're whatever, you're starting an argument with them, and it's not so much about them. It's the fact that why am I allowing myself to be treated like this?
Yeah,
exactly. That's where the anger and disappointment and frustration comes from.
Yeah. Like you said, that projection is the projection is saying it says more about you than them.
Do you know? Do you know a good trick?
100%.
Yeah. Whenever you're in a situation, ask yourself, if this was one of my children or my best friend, what advice would I give them? And then whatever comes to mind, that is the advice for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's how I started. I've got like a 18-year-old girl.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no. Yeah. So I was like, no, because I wouldn't. Oh, thank you. I'm like, I wouldn't be having it. I would not allow her. I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
As a parent, or if I think about any of my good friends, I used to think, nah. And I think you just get to the point. But it's as well, you have to be at that point as well where you had enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the other thing, isn't it? It's all about you. Like anything, like an addiction, like something, you need to admit it to yourself. You need to know that now is the time for me to make those changes. So whether it be a relationship, whether you're an alcoholic, a drug addict, or anything else, you need to admit it and
be ready to
make those changes.
Yeah, definitely. So I can remember constantly complaining about my relationship, constantly, and I had a routine. I'd call my mum, then she'd say, all right, I've got to go now. I'd call my best friend, and she's like, right, I've just got to work. Then I'd call my aunt, and this was a routine for about 3 years. Constantly calling people to complain. And it didn't matter what they said to me, it was the day that I said to myself, enough is enough. They'll be like, oh, leave the man. If you're not happy, leave the man. If you're not happy, leave the man, leave the man, leave the man. And I'm like, oh, but I love
you found reasons to stay.
Yeah. And then the day that I got up, and it was actually an email. So I had sent my friend an email complaining.
And she didn't answer the phone, no?
And it was a guy, and he was at work. So I emailed him, and then he sent me back an email, and all he did was copy in an email that I sent him 2 years before.
Oh, wow.
And he said, read your 2 messages and tell me what has changed. And if nothing has changed in 2 years, what's going to change in the next 2 weeks? What's going to change in the next 6 months? And I sat back and I said, oh my God, you're
He's right.
He's right. That's all it took was for him to just cut and paste the email that I sent 24 months before.
Saying the same thing.
Exactly the same thing. And that was it. That was it. I was like, yeah, later.
Wow.
And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes someone to just not advise you, but reflect back to you or give you that like proverbial slap in the face to make you wake up.
Yeah. No, definitely. Right. Well, everyone's saying hello online. Michelle, Sammy, Asia.
They all saying hi. Hi,
Asia's
guys.
asking that what you're drinking.
Oh, I am drinking. I don't even like it, but I really fancied it. It's the
is that strawberry and lime?
Yeah, I don't drink this.
I love it.
Do you?
Strawberry and lime Copperberg.
I'm not really a drinker.
Well, I've got a Captain Morgan
I
ready
just
mix.
fancied it today. I need it. It's not even strong. Like it's like Panda Pop.
It's refreshing.
But it's refreshing, and I've not had the greatest week. It's only Tuesday, so when you're like, I'm just gonna unwind a little bit today. And yes, this little soft drink will unwind me.
Your week is going to get better, Natalie.
Of course it is.
It is existence. You can say, right, so what's happened has happened, it's past, but it can only get better from here on. Because I hate when people say like, I don't know, something happens on the way to work, they say, you're really having a bad day, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's going to get worse. And I'm like, no, it's not. My day
Exactly.
is going to get better.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
You don't
Right.
need them.
Isn't
No.
it? Sammy Joe said, keep the dog.
Oh, okay.
You should keep the dog.
Keep the dog, she
You
says.
know what?
Rose,
If I get through the next 2 weeks, I'm going to keep the dog.
how long have you had the dog for then, the puppy?
This Saturday will be 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. So it's still fresh.
Very fresh, very
Oh,
fresh.
wow.
I won't even tell you what I came home to. Oh, I won't even tell
Oh,
you.
no. Do the children help out?
My son's very good. So he's
Okay.
13. He gets up in the morning and does the morning shift. So
Oh, cool.
does, he sorts him out and everything in the morning. But it's impacting on my going to the gym. It's impacting on a lot. So I used to go to the gym first thing in the morning. I can't really leave him in the cage for 2 hours. He's gonna cry, make a mess like he did one Saturday. I came home and I nearly lost it. I was just like, oh my god, why am I putting myself? Just think cage, mess, having to use a toothbrush to clean the cage. It took me an hour. I was sweating. I was thinking of my why am I sweating?
No.
And obviously it stunk, yeah.
Oh, it was so stressful. It was
Oh.
I've gone through probably about 100 pairs of disposable gloves. Yeah.
Use it right away.
Yeah. So the environment's not liking me right now.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's tough. It's really tough. But you know what? Apparently dogs are rewarding, apparently.
It's apparently. So they
for my
say.
son, it's more for my son because my daughter's much older. It's like he's an only child.
Right.
And he kept saying, oh, Mum, I'd like a dog to play football with, but the dog's scared of the football, so I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. Keeps barking at the football, so I don't know.
It's all right. You said it's going to be a big one, so, you know, the two of them will grow together.
Yeah. Oh, the sacrifices we make
honestly
to make them happy.
Exactly. And then they still find something to complain about.
Yeah. Oh, all the time. All the bleeding time.
No,
yeah.
Motherhood doesn't come with a manual, unfortunately.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
I should say parenthood because I'm sure there's some fathers on here. So parenthood does not come with a manual.
Yeah.
The old parenthood.
The old parenthood. So, we've got some topics today that we're going to discuss that have been in the group, so we can go through them, give our point of views. We'll look at some of the comments that were made when they were posted in the group, and we can go through. So I know Nikki's got the slide.
I have. I'm going to start sharing.
Sorry, I'm just sharing this to all my pages on Facebook.
No worries. You guys need to teach me how to do this.
Current slide. There we go.
To do this, I'm not techie. I do. It's funny. I do graphics, but I'm not techie like with Zooms and stuff like that. But Trish is Trish and Nikki. They got this. Me, I'm a bit. Yeah.
It's all right. Once you get your broadband and that, you'll be sorted.
Yeah.
You'll be sorted. Okay. So this is just our front page. We've got Symply Devine. So everyone online, join in, send us in some, we're going to chop it all up.
We're going to chop it up.
Chop it all up. Right. So this one. And, oh, right. Sorry. I need to go back. So this is more or less what Symply Devine was just talking about.
Right.
Right, let me move my. So I'll read it out. This one was it was posted by Trisha, and it was taken from Jennifer Ross's page. And it says, I'm going to say this because it needs to be said. A lot of women, actually most women, will fall back and become celibate for years in capitals. They do it in order to heal themselves from their last relationship or sexual trauma. The trouble is that men don't do this work. Women will fall back and go to healing retreats and link up with girlfriends to work on themselves so that they can heal and become better. Men don't do this shit. We have too much ego, too much pride. We like acting like nothing is wrong with us emotionally, so we never do the work. We literally sit around jerking off to porn obsessively.
Oh, wow.
Emotionally numb, waiting for a healing goddess who has done the work to come along and pick us up and mold us and nurture us. And it's not fair. Some women have done this and ended up needing healing again because they were drained from dealing with our asses. We have to also do the work. If you're emotionally hurt or wounded as a man, you have to admit you are and do the work. We can't keep using women as emotional trauma centers. We need to fall back.
Yeah.
What do you say? What say you?
Shall I go?
Yeah, go.
I agree with a lot that he's saying, but I think it's a massive generalization because there are men out there who are doing their healing work. I'm meeting more and more men who are telling me that they're celibate, who are kind of looking into spirituality, who are, talking about, meditation, kundalini, semen retention. If I hear the term semen retention one more time, I'm like, okay, I get it. You're retaining semen. No one's asking you for your semen. I don't want your semen. Keep your semen. Telling me you're retaining it.
Semen retention.
Yeah, so what it's to do with the Chinese say, or Japanese, can't remember, that when a man releases or ejaculates, he loses his life force. So he expends a lot of energy. So when he deliberately retains his semen, he gets that energy to be able to do other things. So it makes him more powerful mentally, makes him more powerful spiritually. So he's not just out there willy-nilly. Because I know from a physical perspective, biological perspective, when a man ejaculates, he loses zinc, he loses iron, he loses a lot of vitamins and minerals.
Well, they normally just go to sleep after sex, right?
Exactly, it's very exhausting for them. Unlike us, it energizes,
we wake up.
Going all night.
You get a spring in your step.
Exactly. So the principle behind, and I think I'm not sure if it's Rich Dad Poor Dad, or there's a book, and they have a whole chapter on successful men and them practicing semen retention, so not using their sexual energy just for pleasure, but using their sexual energy for creativity, creative thinking.
Athletes do that though.
Yeah,
they refrain from having sex before big games or matches or anything like that because they believe it gives them a bit more power.
But how are you supposed to run with blue balls though?
Well, the secret is not to get into a state of arousal. So if you stay neutral, the ball should stay their natural colour. No foreplay, no nothing that's going to cause you any sort of arousal.
And then you won't get it. Because I used to think, well, up until just now, I say used to think that some guys they just get blue balls if it's been a long time since they've released. But is it they get blue balls if they haven't released for a long time, they're aroused and then they cannot release?
I believe from my experience that blue balls is when a man is brought to that point of wanting to release, and then the woman goes, oh no, it's too soon,
and they can't,
whatever it is that women say, and then they can't come. So it's kind of like that frustration or that physical build-up. But I think if a man hasn't had sex for a very long time, I feel that it sometimes you can lose that desire, because if you don't use it, you can lose it. So it's the same thing with men, from what I've been told, because obviously I'm not a guy, but I speak to a lot of guys. They say that sometimes you do become a bit like you focus on other things, so you come to a point where you may not even feel sexual again because it's been so long. And then I don't know if you guys know, but when a man does not release for a long time, the semen actually gets reabsorbed into the body. So if he doesn't have a wet dream, he can just get reabsorbed back into the body.
Oh wow,
that's interesting. I never knew that.
You can look it up. It's a biological fact. If it's not expelled through the wet dream, then it just gets reabsorbed. So it doesn't explode. People talk about they explode all this nonsense. That's not true. But a man can actually become frustrated and feel like he needs to. But it's just like women can.
I was gonna say we do. Well, yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. Yeah, it happens.
Start to get headaches and all kinds of stuff.
And I just think as well, it's not, you know, it wasn't the done thing, was it, for men to really say, oh, I'm celibate, oh, I'm not knocking one out or whatever. You know, it's kind of, they're happy to turn around and say, well, no, I'm celibate or whatever nowadays. These men that are healing themselves and are happy to say that. But
do you think it's because we've given them permission, we've made them feel comfortable enough to be able to admit, actually, I don't fit into that stereotype of, being sex hungry. Actually, I'm quite happy to be with myself, not sleep with anyone until I find the right woman. Because I find a lot of guys now talking about connection.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more guys are saying that they want a connection with a woman. They don't just want to sleep with someone for the sake of it. They need to feel that connection, which I think is a beautiful thing, guys.
Yeah.
Do you think
guys that like that connection?
Do you think it's genuine, or do you think that it's something that they're saying because it's kind of like what they think we want to hear?
No, I feel some guys obviously use that to their advantage, because I know some women be like, oh my God, you're healing, let me help you. But there's a lot of guys out there that I believe are quite genuine and saying, do you know what? I've been a player, I've had my time where I've had gal on top of gal, and now actually that doesn't excite me. I need more. I need to feel something, because men want to feel loved as well. As much as they might put on that hard exterior, they want to feel accepted, fully accepted. They want to feel love. A lot of men like affection. You rub a guy's head, he acts like my puppy, If you're like a rabbit, it's like the puppy.
Yeah.
So men need these things as well, and I think now they're more openly talking about it. They don't feel like they have to live up to that macho, depiction that society says that they should be.
Right.
I agree. I think so. There are those little players though that are out there saying what they think we want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for my soulmate. I want to connect.
Yeah.
Well, the soulmate, they say that we shouldn't look for the soulmate. We have to align ourselves, and the soulmate will find us.
Will attract. Yeah.
But no, it makes me laugh. Old players. I'm like, sit down.
That are still trying to play. Yeah.
I don't know. What are you doing? Like, seriously, no, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, we're looking at women who are, the same age as your daughter or younger. There comes a point where it's like, actually behave yourself. You're of age now,
My daughter said that the other day, actually. She lives in Stratford. She's 26, and she said, Mum, I feel like I'm gonna have like a rage at a man, like I'm not, and she's got a boyfriend and she's very close to her dad and whatever not, but she said, like, I just can't deal with men at the moment because there's these dirty old crufts, and that was her own words. She said that they're just out there and they're just leery, and she said it's disgusting. And, and my daughter, she's just, and she looks quite young, she doesn't look 26, and she's going to work, she's a nurse and all that, what I mean, like going to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and you got some man on the train wanting to, and she's disgusted. She said, Mum, I feel like I want to gouge their eyes out. Like, she's just said it's horrible, and I just said, you know what, babe, you just got to keep looking. Sometimes you got to pick your battles, and some of them you do need to call out, some of them you can carry on walking. Do you know what I mean? But it's just a lot though.
I think if you see a big man behaving inappropriately, I think that you should say to him, what,
definitely,
you know your age, that's not appropriate. So I can remember walking through Catford with my daughter, and this guy, probably in his 50s, said you could probably use your imagination. He was talking to my daughter, who at the time, she's probably about 17, 18.
Oh, man.
And he's like, something. And I was like, you are disgusting. Can you not see that's a child? And even a big woman, you shouldn't speak to like that in public. And he's like, sorry, miss. I was like, no, that is disgusting.
Disgusting.
Like, you speak to a female like that. I think it's okay. But some of it's cultural, isn't it? You know, some of the things that are acceptable, you know, maybe in the Caribbean and Africa, or, you know, other countries, that, you know, when they come here, they try and go on with the same sort of behaviour, but culturally here it's not acceptable. Where it may be laughed off, you know, back in their countries, here it's not.
We're not having none of it.
No.
And our girls are not having none of it neither.
No.
You know, we've taught them to stand up for themselves, and that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So there's no sweeping that nastiness under the carpet. No, sorry, like, no, you can't. No.
Let's look at some of the comments. Firstly, no Bravado crew, I'm back. So hello.
Back. Give her a welcome, man.
My mum is back home.
Excellent.
She's
so
happy.
happy.
There's a bug in the rug, and she's next door. So I might switch my camera off just to run and check and so on and so forth. I'll be back and forth. But yeah,
Cool.
I'm back. Can we look at some of the comments? Because
let me get some of the...
What Symply Devine was saying was that it was a massive generalization, and funny enough, that is what triggered a lot of the guys' response.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if the cap don't fit, don't wear it. Let's discuss the point. Do you know what I mean? We know all men don't basically jerk off the porn and go and trap women and just do toxic things. But the point is, I mean, I don't know where our little resident Olu, I don't know where he is today, because I wanted to ask him like about males and celibacy, but you kind of answered from the men that you've been talking to, fine. Anyway, but I know celibacy is something that a lot of women I speak to go through, but I've not spoken to that much men.
That's gone through it.
No.
Yeah, me neither.
That's a great post by Alison Leona. That's a really good post.
Read it out for us, love.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you do reading out aloud?
Of course she does.
if you don't, I get it, because I
perform poetry, remember?
Oh, okay, we'll go for it then, honey.
So Alison Leona Gran Belfort, hope I've said that correctly. Maybe not all men, but mostly true. I have a male friend who's doing this, healing. Now he's made a tremendous achievement. We had a chat about this. If indeed you have completed the healing, then you shouldn't be attracted to a damaged man, woman again. The error repeats itself when the journey, healing, is not complete. Sometimes people going through healing stops when they start to feel good about themselves. You cannot be attracted to the same damaged people if you fully healed spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Your desires will change and you will develop the third eye. Oh, I like this woman. This helps you stream through, then you find peace, which is whole, unshakable. So I guess what she's saying is when you develop your third eye, you become more discerning. So you can kind of pick up on people's nature before you get involved with them. And if you are in a good place spiritually, then you're obviously going to be more aligned with people who are in a good space spiritually. That's how it should be, but it doesn't always work, because as a spiritual woman and an empath, sometimes we do attract people who feel that we can help them.
I was going to say that. That's what I think that a lot of the times happen, that you kind of do sort of heal yourself, but then as women, as nurturers, as you know, even if we haven't had children or whatever, we feel that we can help, we feel that we can heal. And a lot of it is about thinking that we can help that person, even if we've healed ourselves.
And the person sees something in us, i.e. that kind of nurturing energy, and also that peace that you have around you. And it's not everyone that comes to take. Sometimes they just come to you because they want to feel that peace.
They need it.
Yeah, you become their peace. So I agree with some of what she said, but not all of it, because you can be spiritually elevated and still attract people who need support, you know, and are a bit, I hate to use the word damaged, but people who are going through challenges.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Okay.
Well, who wasn't happy? Natty wasn't happy.
Never is.
I was just about to say. That is
So
never
stop
happened.
reading that. Men don't do this shit. Simple. He was not happy about that.
Can I
But
just
like you
add,
said, he has a grumble a lot, doesn't he? But I like him. He gives me jokes.
he makes good points. I'll just add regarding the attracting people who may not be in a good place. That's why having boundaries is very important. So knowing where your cut-off point is. So even if someone comes to you and they are, you know, spiritually challenged or emotionally challenged, whatever the case may be, you know where you draw that line, where you're not going to allow them to negatively impact on your mental, emotional and physical well-being.
Totally, completely. And that's what I think everyone needs that from a very young age, and then half of the stuff that happens to us wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
But it's something that life experiences. It's the life experiences that you go through, I believe, that helps you set those boundaries
Definitely
for the future.
And do you think like upbringing also determines how strong your boundaries are? Because if you weren't set clear boundaries by your parents or your caregiver, your primary caregiver, sometimes that leads you to not be able to set clear boundaries as you get into adulthood.
Yeah.
You don't have a concept of boundaries. And, you know, I did a training on boundaries actually for some managers. And I was like, if you don't know where you stand, then how can you direct where other people stand with you? So that's why having your own foundation is so important. You have to know where you stand in order to be able to define the boundary.
Yeah, no, agreed. I believe that. And I'm a great one for asking questions. People say I chat too much and I question too much, but I have to, because I need to know and I need to make sure that we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if I think one thing and you think another, then and we're on different wavelengths, then it's not going to work, is it? So I'm like, okay, is there this? Is there that? Is there this? And that? Oh my God, Nick, man! But I need to know.
You know, it's important. Yeah, communication is important because assumptions cause issues. It's never good to assume. So asking a question, whether the person answers or not, that's entirely their choice.
That's
but
true.
There's nothing wrong with asking a question.
Yeah.
Okay. What else did they say? What else did Anthony's saying, guys and players, don't believe that shite, ladies.
He's talking about, I think he was saying that about when we were saying, guys were saying they want the connection.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Anthony's saying that actually that they're not looking for a connection.
Yeah, they're just trying to get in your panties, basically.
That's coming from a dude. All right, what's the next slide, Nick?
Was this the same Anthony we spoke about when we spoke about polygamy?
No, that's Magic Murray.
That was someone else. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So Richie G said, I really wish people would speak for themselves. No relationship counselor is going to prescribe the same thing for every client they see. That would be bizarre. Too many half-truths in this post. How many people reading this haven't done what the dude talks about, but yet it's moved on just fine? So he's basically saying you don't need to go through all of the spiritual hoo-ha to move on. But I think it's necessary. I think
he believes that, you know, it's just cool. Like all the dudes that he obviously knows are saying they've moved on and it's just been fine. But obviously not. A
lot of people are not aware of the spiritual impact. And to be fair, like we talk about it more or less every show it comes up. To be fair, it took me hitting rock bottom with a real horrible relationship to be like, how the hell did I get here? And it's not just him. I was in this, and why? So to go on a real soul search and a real spiritual search to understand and to be at the level of where I'm at, but not everybody thinks like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. What's Nat, read out Nubia, or you can read out Nubia, what Nubia's saying.
She said men are funny. In not all men laugh out loud. It's bizarre that men take umbrage at a post that is steeped in generalizations. yeah, happy to discuss generalized posts on females all day, which is true. They do that. That's the only thing I don't like about guys in that group. It's also bizarre that most men in this group are of the age group that will openly admit that they've moved on post haste after a breakup, but wholeheartedly disagree with this post. Final level of bizarre is that said age group of men are only recently getting in touch with emotions other than anger yet. ...
Exactly. I agree with Nubia 100%.
Yeah.
Not sharing it.
100%. Sorry. Yeah, I agree.
You agree with?
Yeah, I agree with her.
You agree with?
Especially the generalization ones, you know, where we get generalized all the time. Women this, women that, but a man post comes out and like, oh my God, you know.
Every time.
Yeah. And I just think that, you know, there's a lot of men, like the previous guy that said the previous post about nights, they've moved on just fine. There's a lot of men that are doing that. They are just moving on and thinking that everything's cool. Yeah, no, she was a bitch or whatever, but not realizing that they're still causing damage and they're still, it's the same cycle. You know what I mean?
The baggage.
Yeah, it's the same cycle, and they don't actually realize, you know, it, and it's not her fault or the girlfriend before that fault or the girlfriend before that's fault. It's them that need to do the work on themselves and deal with whatever trauma is going on that they've had from when they were children.
Yeah. You know, a good analogy, especially like for men that think like that. Would you take a pair of trousers from someone and put them on without washing them? No, you wouldn't.
No.
Why not? Yeah. Because they're going to be contaminated with the previous person's DNA and, you know, sweat and grime, whatever the case may be. And I feel it's the same thing with a relationship. When you come out of one relationship, you just need that time to clear, that time to kind of readjust, that time, as Natty and I and Nikki said earlier, to get back in touch with your own energy, to understand your emotions as opposed to the other person's emotions. What does your energy feel like as opposed to other people's energy? And only then, when you're, you know, if you've had somebody cheat on you, you don't want to go into the next relationship with that insecurity. It's important to do that period of clearing, even if it's a month, 2 months, whatever, but give yourself a bit of space, because it's also not fair on the next person. Because if you don't do that little bit of work on yourself, all the trauma and the dramas, you will, even if it's subconsciously, bring that into the next situation. And even after a 5-year gap of not being with someone, my first relationship after that was a test, because I hadn't tested how much I'd healed, because I hadn't been with anyone. So getting into that situation, there were certain little things that triggered me, and I realized, you know, because of the work, I knew that it wasn't about the person, it was me, because it was that trauma. So whatever that person might have done or said triggered a response in me, because I was remembering the trauma of that feeling from the previous situation. And because I knew that, I was able to work through it. And also the person was very understanding. So they knew that it's not that I was, you know, saying that they're doing anything. They understood that it brought back a memory. And the memory brought back the feeling, and the feeling triggered the behavior. A lot of people don't have that awareness.
That's a good way of looking at it, though. That's a very good way. Oh, Natty said in the comments, men are not the same, women are not the same. If you see a post and you feel, wait, that's a bit much, talk up.
Okay, let's talk up. Because I've been waiting.
You're on mute, Trish, babes.
So,
That's never gonna come on.
I agree with Natty. Men are not the same. Women are not the same.
Yeah,
if
we do agree on that.
And you feel, wait, that's a bit much, talk up. But I will say, Natty is one of the people that puts up the most bad mind posts up about women. Don't care. And he's also the one, I'm just going to be honest.
He comes with the mix up though when he's ready, isn't it?
Right. But you're also the one that will say, like, stop generalizing and stuff like that. But out of most of the people men in the group, you do post the most things about women and have done since we started the group. So it's like, it's good for debating, and it's not
what I'm saying is we take it because we can debate on it. It's debating. It doesn't mean it's set in stone. It's a comment, and then we can just discuss it and say some men and some women, not all women, or some men, not all men. But the way the guys take it when we post anything or anything is posted by another lady, which is definitely not as often as it is for women, as it is with the women posts, it's just, there's just not, it's just like, oh my gosh, we don't go ham like that. There might be some people that take certain things to an offense, but there are things that, you know, where we think, you know, no, but I get you, Natty. Natty said I post things to get people thinking. I get it. So that's what the people that are posting the things about men are doing. To get people thinking. It's the same thing. But I feel like when the guys post things about women, which is all the time, you know, we don't always get in uproar. There might be some ladies that sometimes they just had enough and they get annoyed a little bit. But if we post anything, and we do have gaps where there is gaps between it, there is a flourish of men that have in the group that have a heart attack.
Because go on to the next slide of the comments. Sorry, go on, Mum.
Because the post triggered them. You're only going to respond to something and get into uproar about something because it triggered you. There's something that was written that made that, but maybe there was an element of truth to it, or whatever the case may be, and that is why they felt like they needed to go into defense mode.
Yeah, but I've Natty's saying I post things to get people thinking. I'm hearing you. I agree, but I have mouth to say something. Please don't think for 1 second that we don't have mouth to say something on here. We do. That's not the point. The point on here is because the mouth runneth very free. Please, honestly, that's not it. Yeah, runneth. What it is that if we're doing those things, we can't. If we are posting those things, or if we post, if I post things, I've posted things about guys in the past. That's why when I see things generalized about women, I don't post it because it doesn't apply to me. It's not an issue. If some of it may apply to me, and I'll be like, oh, triggered, because I know that I'm like that. I can admit that. I'll shut my mouth because I'm not saying nothing because I know I can be like that. But if it's debatable, then I'll debate it. But I won't come and say, stop generalizing women, because I know that that's what the group does.
It away from the point.
It has posts like that. But I do think if you do post things that are targeted at women, or if you do post things that are targeted at men, when the other sex posts things, it's not, we shouldn't be, not all women, not all men, we know that. We know that.
Absolutely.
So that's all I'm saying. He said I didn't say that either, but please continue. But okay.
All right, well, Devon said, Nikki, do you want to read that out?
Go on, because Devon has a lot to say. I like it when Devon talks, actually. He said, bullshit. There's a lot of men, including myself, that have taken a step back to heal, not only yourself, not only ourselves, but in order to be a better person when taking on the next relationship, and also to elevate what we already want, what we really want from a relationship. Evaluate, what we really want from a relationship. We also have a group where we have meetings with each other, check in with each other. What people need to understand is that not all men can talk about what they're going through or what they've been through. Who wants to keep jumping from ship to ship later to all that?
I think he makes some really good points.
No, he does. He makes very good points. And Karen responded, respect to you and those like you. However, he does have a point, but for both sexes, or shall I say all, as there's always a need, as far as I'm concerned, after every relationship to heal and repair to some degree before jumping into a new relationship.
Which is what we said, like what we said earlier, you have to take that time out just to kind of regroup, gather your thoughts, get yourself back together, because every time you're in a relationship you leave a fragment of yourself with that person. If you have a string of broken relationships behind you, that's how many fragments of yourself left all over the place. So it's important to, you know, get yourself back together.
That part, my friend. Next slide. The next slide's interesting. Okay. Natalie, do you want to read this?
Okay, so this came from Ade Shakoya. He said, Here we go. Men disagree and state what's true for them. Then rather than their view queried for clarity, it becomes the focus of analysis in support of said argument. Then when men don't talk about what's so for them because they feel it will get dismissed, they are further accused of being emotionally unavailable. We have to break that vicious circle if we really want to understand each other better and show the next generation a better way. I do get what he's saying, but when I looked through the comments, I felt like it was being discussed. I don't think people were dismissing I don't think all the comments were dismissing the guy's point of view. I do think there were some ladies that said, I completely hear that, I get that, and they were kind of coming from, and I respect where you're coming from, but I do feel like there is sometimes an element of defensiveness, which I get, because men are, I know that they feel like they're attacked a lot. And that's what I've learned from being in this group, that men do feel like they are attacked a lot.
With this comment, I feel that he's saying, not just in relation to the post, but in general, that men are kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. So if they don't talk up, it's an issue. When they do talk up, if a man gets shout down when he does speak up, it becomes to the point where it's like, I'm not going to say anything. And then the woman does say, you're emotionally unavailable. So it's almost like, how can men win? And it's not all women that will behave in the same way, but especially in a group setting, you might have, people in different stages of their elevation and alignment that are defensive and do go back and argue instead of trying to understand the other person's point of view. So it can be off-putting for men to try and express themselves, especially within a public forum.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Never really looked at it that way. Jennifer said, in order for us to understand, analyze maybe the way we work, when men decide not to share or for fear of being dismissed, that technically is being emotionally unavailable. Women have such a viewpoint in this debate as men will. We have fathers, sons, and partners with them, and therefore some of us will have experienced the man that this post refers to. Nat, your camera's gone. When men call bullshit, they dismiss that experience. Not all men and not all women should have to be said and argued about amongst adults who clearly understand what generalized means. The vicious cycles ends when people are able to discuss a subject without taking said subject personal. Right, that part, Jenny. Don't feel attacked and able to stick to said subject without diverting to but, etc., and understand that we all have our own unique way of understanding each other's experiences. And
exactly.
That's what I was like, just drop your mic,
that's what we've been trying to say all along.
Stop sharing it.
Right, but also what we have to understand is people perceive things from their own point of perception, and that's right. A conundrum. So if you are reading something, you are going to interpret it from your own point of understanding. So we then can't get upset with someone because they are getting upset by the post, because they are responding from their point of understanding, which is different from our point of understanding.
But we have said many times, like as Natalie just said, we know that it's not all men that jerk off or emotionally unavailable. We know this. We shouldn't have to do a disclaimer every time. And
if they certainly don't.
Right, when they're ready to tear us apart, they do. With no mercy as well. But as Natalie said, if it doesn't apply to me, I'm not going to get triggered by it. So, and if it does apply to me, I'm like, oh, why is this? Ooh,
why is this hurting?
Why is this
uncomfortable?
Why is this uncomfortable? And then it's for me to check that out. But I feel like if we're going to be like, and it's just not all men, we know that. Let's discuss the point. What I really want to know is semen, what did you call it? Semen
retention.
Semen retention. I want to know how many guys really practice this. They sound like they're all in South London.
question up on Facebook, like
over it.
Yeah, put a question up on Facebook. Like, I'll put one up on my page. Like,
do that tomorrow.
What is semen retention? Do you practice semen retention? If so, why? And to me, if you practice semen retention, like this particular person keeps telling me, I'm like, why do you feel the need to advertise it? If you I'm not going to keep walking around saying I'm celibate, you know. No, there's no need for me to advertise it because I know it within myself. I think if I keep on talking about it publicly, that's because maybe I want to draw attention to that fact, because maybe I want you to do something about my celibacy. So maybe this said person wants me to extract the semen because he's forever telling me that he's retaining his semen. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Premium semen.
I went for a stage where I told people that I was celibate, but I was really proud of it because I kind of felt like sometimes you get people that might be like, oh, you need to get in a relationship because, and you know, you find when people put their head on the side, oh, are you still single?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm celibate and I'm fine. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So, I guess it depends again in which way you look at it. But you're right. I suppose running around and talking about it all the time, it's like, are you trying to draw attention to it for the wrong reasons? But sometimes it is to shut those people up that are like, oh, you're still have no kids. Oh. There was nothing wrong with my room. I chose not to have kids. It might have shut down now, but because I'm 46, but I chose not to have kids for a variety of reasons, which I've mentioned on different shows. But yeah, I don't see anything wrong with being celibate. And for a lot of the things that you said earlier, I do feel like women are vessels. I do think we have to be very careful about who we let into our space. I also think we need to be just as careful because women charge men. So we, you know what I mean? We are receivers, but yes, we are charging at the same time. And with that in mind, I don't really want, if you're going around and you're getting charged by a bunch of different energies, I don't want that inside of me. So I'm very, very particular on who I sleep with. So
energy transfer years. Energy transfer is real.
And not bat an eyelid. So, and I think people ask, is it because you're religious? No, it's because I understand spirituality. Is it because you're waiting for a specific one? No, if I met someone that I liked, I would date. And if our energy is aligned, then I would go on to sleep with him. It's not because I'm sitting on a lily pad. It's not that. It's just as you get older and you know, so you can't unknow what you know now. You have to be careful about what it is that you're doing. So that's my reasons for celibacy.
Also, there's spiritual consequences, which a lot of people don't realise. When you're ignorant, you're ignorant. If you don't know something, you don't know something, as Trisha just said. But if you know something and you still go and do what you're doing despite knowing, there's a spiritual consequence. Because it's almost like you're taking the mick, you're disrespecting those spiritual laws. That it's like, you know that there's energy transference is real. All you have to do is think about when you go into a room and you meet someone for the first time and you think, oh, I really like this person, or actually there's something about this person I don't take. That's the energy you're picking up on their spiritual vibe. So just think about when you're having sex with that person, which is the closest you can get to someone apart from giving birth. You know, whatever they are carrying is going to be transferred, whether it's insecurity. And I'll give you a quick example. I was dating someone during this time. I became very fearful. I couldn't stay in my house by myself. I'd be jumping at every noise. This went on for the duration of the time that I was with this person. I used to sleep with the light on. Everything. Couldn't understand it. Relationship came to an end. Within about 3 weeks, I was like, why am I sleeping with the light on? Turned off the light, went to bed, woke up next morning. I was like, oh, I'm okay. Nothing happened to me. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, I was actually listening to a clip on YouTube talking about don't be so quick to get involved with people and collaborate with people, because like spiritual collaboration, because you don't know what people are carrying. And one of the things it spoke about was fears. And I was like, oh my God, that fear that I was carrying around for all those years wasn't mine.
Yeah.
It was my partner's fears, and it was maybe fears of maybe being exposed or fears of whatever the fear was. But because I was with him and we were close, and obviously when you're sleeping together, you're exchanging all the time.
Yeah.
Every time I slept with him or was with him, I was absorbing his fear. And as soon as we broke up, the fears went.
Yeah.
Now I can be in my house by myself. I could probably even walk through a graveyard late at night now and not be scared, because I do not have that fear, because that spirit and energy of fear was his, not mine. And that's how deep it is. It is real.
Yeah, it is.
It's real.
It really is. It is real. All right. Next, let's go on to the next topic. See if there's any more comments on that. Let's
Have
go.
a look.
Yeah, let's go on to the next. It really is.
Someone was saying that the live's been interrupted.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Still there.
That's weird.
No, still there, from what I can see.
Oh. Yeah.
Is it
Well,
still?
yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
Still,
Are we going to read these or are you going to skip?
Skip.
that is like an essay.
Give me it.
From a male
He's
perspective,
basically
though,
saying what you've been saying though. So it's an open, honest communication that creates connection, happens when both parties feel psychologically and emotionally safe. When that's absent, some of us men intentionally or unintentionally become emotionally unavailable with that person, but are emotionally available to others who create that space. Emotionally unavailable men do not benefit either sex, especially in intimate relationships, and are not a good example for our children to see. One way to create psychologically, emotionally safety might be for men and women to disagree without making the other wrong, which requires a degree of emotional intelligence from both sexes. And I really like that, he's actually, because that makes a lot. And having children made me learn that. Like being a mum made me learn that. And actually I'm gonna credit my husband because he's actually made me look at things in a real different way as well. So I was in a bit of a turbulent relationship before him, and then we broke up. I went off, and I wouldn't say I healed from him, but I still had to get to know myself a lot more. I was in my late 20s, then I was single, then met my husband, but I had to become that emotionally safe person because I wasn't, from the trauma that I'd been through with him. And like you said, the minute he said something or something happened that took me back to a time with the ex, oh my God, it was off. And, the street came out in me, and he was like, well, why are you being like that? I only said blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but rah, 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 rah. And he'd be like, stop, calm down. Do you know what I mean? And he's a talker. He is much more of a talker. So it made me think like, rah, okay, I can just relax and talk without it becoming fire and explosion.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that.
And then having children, and we've got boys as well. I've got older girls, but the boys that we have got together has definitely made me realise the conversations that we have around our children makes a big, massive difference, and our responses to each other. Do you know what I mean? So that what Ade has said really resonated with me, and I never saw that in the post. So yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Should I read the rest?
Yeah, go on. It's magic.
Although the intention was not to dismiss anyone's experience, that would be dumb, dismissive and hypocritical on my part. The feedback I'm taking from what you shared is the statements such as BS need to be used more specifically. Otherwise, they diminish the
listening. The listening of what? It's the next thing it goes. The next.
All right. Well,
Yes.
more specifically,
Yeah.
Otherwise they diminish the listening of what's said after that.
Mhm.
Since the goal is to build bridges of understanding, not create more barriers, I received that feedback and will use cleaner language in future. 100% agree. The vicious cycle breaks when we can take an objective, non-emotional approach to topics where one person may see a 6 and the other a 9. The bridge comes when we all step outside of our own experiences and personal truth, outside of our own experiences and personal truth to listen to what the other person is saying from their perspective.
Yeah.
From there, we may learn to appreciate the other person's position, even if we cannot fully understand it based on personal experiences. We are the change we seek. I appreciate this exchange. And that is
Fantastic.
empathy, isn't it? That is being empathetic. So looking at it in a non-biased, non-objective way, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
It's what we said earlier, that people are going to process things from their own point of experience and emotional triggers, and for that we cannot be upset with them. We have to give them understanding and empathy. So he basically summed up what we said. That's an amazing response.
Yeah, definitely. Let's. Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Okie dokie. Inboxed by a No Bravado member, so someone wanted to remain.
Just realised that true is spelt wrong, though.
Spelt wrong, yeah.
Just realised that. Yeah. True, false. Foreplay is
That's
for
false.
the woman and not
the woman,
the man.
not the man.
That is false.
That's totally false.
Now, Lex.
That's totally false.
That is
My
totally
eyes.
false. Men
All
love
right.
foreplay.
Why do you say
Some
that?
men, yeah.
Why do you think it's false?
I just think it depends on what you do. It's a give and take, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, men like to be touched and caressed just like women do. I used the puppy analogy earlier. And there's lots of men that like to have their nipples sucked and tweaked. I did a podcast with a group of Jamaican guys a few months ago. And I don't know, one of the topics was sex. And the guy went in. I thought he was just going to answer generically. So a lot of the other guys have been quite quiet, saying, oh, I like the connection. This guy said, I like when a woman take my nipple there, man. You know, men love foreplay. Men like their neck kiss, their earlobes nibbled, or whatever the case may be. So it's not just for women. It depends on the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute.
Cool.
Just gonna check on my mum.
No worries.
Yeah.
I think it also, and it depends on, like you said, the man, what sort of person you're like, you know. And again, my ex wasn't very tactile. He wasn't a person that done public displays of affection, and he wasn't like that. So like you said, Simply Divine, you know, I conditioned myself to be a specific way with him. Then meeting my husband now, and you know, man's holding my hand and kissing me in the street and smacking my bum, and you know, and I'm like, what you doing? But now we've been together for years now. Now I'm like, come on then, what you're not smacking it, or you know. So it just depends on kind of what kind of relationship you have and what you like personally as well. You know, I enjoy a good, you know, I like to be touched and stroked and stuff and caressed and all that, but not all the time.
And it depends on the person, because different people bring different elements out of a person. So you might be like with, you know, one guy and you don't feel very sexual because of how you feel within that relationship. And then you could be with another guy where you feel super sexual because of how you feel in that relationship. So, you know, you can wear the clothes that you want to wear. He compliments you all the time. He tells you how beautiful and amazing you are. So in turn, you are naturally, you know, turned on by him because you're in a higher vibrational state, as opposed to when you're in a relationship with someone where there's a lot of drama, you're constantly arguing, you're not going to feel as sexual unless you're someone who gets off on that kind of, you know, what is it, make up to break up cycle.
That's too much.
Unless that's, you know, you actually get off on that. If you're with the person where you feel like you can't be yourself, you're not going to feel as as sexy and sexual as the person that you can totally be yourself with. And men as well. I think sometimes men are scared to ask for what they like because they don't want to be ridiculed. So if a man turns around and says things that is something that's deemed feminine, like having his nipples sucked or played with, he might think, well, actually, I don't really want to tell her that that's what I enjoy because she might be a man of mine. That's a gal, you know, that's something that women do. So I think it's about, you know, allowing your partner to feel comfortable enough to tell you their desires, what they enjoy, because a massive part of sex is communication.
Yeah.
You know, so foreplay is not just for the women.
No.
Yeah, it's not. And it's what your language is. It's what your love language,
your love
language is. So it's, some women don't like foreplay.
Exactly.
And even me, it depends what mood I'm in that day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it will depend what mood I'm in that day. It's not necessarily,
Yeah,
it's
sometimes you want
not one way all the time.
Quick one. Sometimes you want the long.
You want the whole love.
Yeah.
You want the whole art, you know, 90s R&B style. Other time you want the bashment style.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Right. I'm going to see if there's any comments attached to that. Then I'm sure there must be.
There were.
I'm sure they must be.
Our group members are the best, man, I tell you. They're hilarious. Niga said it's for both, simple.
Yeah.
Jackie B said it's beneficial for both. Dion said it should be for both, but I don't think everyone got that memo. I said I think both. Devon said false with a capital F, even though you both will be kissing and touching each other, I believe the man does more foreplay.
What, he does more for the woman?
Yeah.
Think so?
I think it will depend.
I don't know. Depends. Yeah, it depends on the situation. I think it's give and take.
Yeah, I do. I believe it's a lot of give and take.
Yeah.
And there's some men that they love foreplay just as much as the woman. Like, they would not want to just get straight into it unless they literally did not care about you. There was no feelings, and they literally just want to satisfy themselves. That when a man cares about the woman, he actually wants the pleasure, because that's part of his pleasure. When he's pleasuring her and making her feel good, that in turn makes him feel good because he knows that he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Now, what did Roger say?
Roger said, I would say it's for the woman. Consider this, it doesn't take much to arouse a man. I'm going to generalize, that's true. Especially if he is already attracted. On the other hand, subconsciously, ladies need to be aroused. Ladies need days to be aroused. Don't know about days. Depending on who it is, because that sounds like a slow burner. The communication, the compliments, the surprise lunch date, cleaning the house, the gentle physical contact for anything between half an hour and 45 minutes, then finally intercourse. If nothing spoils her mood, of course. He's got a whole roadmap to this thing.
Oh, Rog, man. Come on, mate.
Oh, that's actually quite funny. I can see his point, because foreplay starts way before you get into the bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, when he says it takes days, you know, it might be those sexy text message exchanges and things like that. You know, I think the massive mistake that people make is feeling that foreplay is literally just the prelude to the actual intercourse, which it isn't. It might be the compliment, it might be that little cheeky message that he sends to you during the day, if he's that way inclined, because some men are not that way inclined. You know, you might be the one that sends that cheeky message, or you might say, oh babes, I like it when you wear those red shoes, or whatever the case may be. All of that foreplay. And I think it's I was listening to this clip about
Stop sharing it.
Sorry, say that again?
No, telling you to share.
And what it was saying was, women are the ones that get bored sexually in relationships first. People think it's the man, but it's actually not the man, because men, they're saying that men are quite easy to please. Like, you know, Devon said, you know, you have your couple points of arousal for a man, but for a woman, if you don't mentally stimulate her and emotionally stimulate her, she can very quickly get bored of the sex.
Right.
I would
agree with that.
I would agree. Yeah.
I would agree with that, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about Okay, ladies. What about dead sex? What are you doing?
Not doing it.
And the dance, man.
But
Simply's like,
dead it, no pun intended. Before you dead it,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
you can do certain things to help yourself. So if there's no chemistry, there's no chemistry.
Mhm.
yeah,
It's very difficult to make chemistry where there's none. But if there's chemistry and just maybe the technique or if the case may be, you can guide, you can support, you can teach. Because I find that with sex, and I'm probably going to get cussed by the men for this, a lot of men have a formula. Yeah, it's like this woman like this, blah blah. They come to the next relationship, they do that, it works. They don't understand why maybe you're not able to, you know, have an orgasm, whatever the case may be. But there's, you know, the man has to get to know you and your body. But as a woman, you also need to know yourself, because if you don't know what excites you, if you don't know what sensations you enjoy, how are you able to effectively communicate that to your partner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm laughing at Natalie just swigging from the bottle. Whilst I'm listening to you, I'm listening. Oh wow, Natalie has me in stitches every single show.
Sorry. Because I'm listening.
You have to tell the man, you have to guide him. You have to.
You do.
Yeah, because I think if the chemistry is there, it's just the technique, you can rectify that. If there's no vibe, zero vibe, it's very, very difficult.
yeah, that's something else you've got to deal with, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I think.
Yeah,
But it must be horror. And the thing is, and I think, you know, because a friend of mine that actually happened to, and she said they spoke for a long time and they got along well and they thought they had connected, and then when they'd done the deed, she was very deflated, you know. She wasn't very happy. But I said the same thing. Deflated, like, you know. And I was like, well, you know, can't you show him, can't you tell him what you're interested in? Or I don't know, you know, the age old, I don't know, sexy underwear, lingerie under a coat, whatever, turn up at his house, do what, you know, I don't know, like, but she's actually said it got better and better because she actually did bring it up with him, and she said it was a really cringy conversation. It was quite a hard conversation to have, but she said he dealt with it so well, and he said, look, I'm just gonna follow your lead, like, and she said for the next week it was like they improved every single time they improved, and like they're still together and it's all hunky-dory, you know?
Because if you think about it, a guy might have been with a woman who didn't say anything, she's not giving him any feedback. So when he's on there going in, out, he thinks he's doing an amazing job because she might have faked it, or she's just not told him it was never good. So why would he think what he's doing needs to be improved upon? It's only when he met the other woman, your friend now, and she spoke to him and stuff, that he realized actually there's more to sex than just maybe what he was doing, and they were able to work on it together and improve things. And sometimes a man needs sexual confidence as well. Because we kind of take for granted that because a man's had a lot of partners that he's going to be good in bed. Not necessarily, because he may not have had that time to be with one person to build up, to develop a good sexual technique, you know, or, you know, be with one woman to direct him, or maybe, you know, the woman's anatomy or whatever the case may be. He might have just done his usual, put it in, you know, bang, 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 get on with it. And that's been fine for all these different women because they weren't in relationships. You know, you might be having lots of one-night stands. And sometimes it takes that one woman to say, actually, babe, slow it down or do this. And it's how you talk to the man as well, because you don't want to make the man feel demasculated when you're talking about sex. You want to give him that confidence. So instead of like saying, oh, babe, you know what, you don't even make me calm, oh my God, I was rubbish, I was dry, whatever. You might say like, you know, babes, how about, you know, put a pillow under my bum, or let's play a game. My favorite one is let's play a game. And it's called Hot or Colder. Or, you know, the 1 to 5. And I'm like, okay, babes, when it feels really good, I'm going to say 5. If it's not so good, it'd be a 2 or a 3. And your aim is to get me to a 5.
That's a good
How
way.
can a man argue with that? The man
They're gonna try hard. What?
Yeah.
They're gonna
You've not
try.
told him he's rubbish. You've not
Yeah.
put him down in any way. You've just kind of, and the voice helps as well. You kind of use that voice.
You got a lovely speaking voice.
Lovely.
Lovely
You're a
speaking.
sexual coach
Trust
as
me, that
well.
would turn on anybody. I'm
Delve
great
into
at
that.
it. And I like to hear it.
Coach as well.
Yes, man.
I have one speciality. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it after 9 o'clock. So a lot of women come to me to learn how to squirt, but that's probably another show.
Sorry, say that again.
So a lot of women come to me to learn how to squirt.
Oh.
Natalie.
Oh.
Okay. Lord of mercy.
Wait a minute.
What do you mean learn how
What
to
do you mean?
Okay, because all right, I believe that all women can do it. All women can do that.
Yeah.
It's
That's
about,
great.
Unless there's something physically wrong. But most women can. A lot of the time, women hold back. So when it comes to being able to squirt, at the point where they have their orgasm, it's like it's sensitive. Oh no, stop, don't touch me. So they don't allow themselves to break that barrier.
Right.
And when you break that barrier of pleasure, that you become multi-orgasmic, and when you become multi-orgasmic, you're then able to squirt. So
do men like that then?
I can't speak for all men, but I have had positive feedback.
Because I've spoken to 2 men in particular about this topic. One didn't like it because he thought she wet the bed.
Yeah.
And she pissed in the bed. And I was like, no, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
So he was not impressed. Yeah. And then there was another guy that I spoke to. He was like, yeah, man, that means you do the thing when they squirt. Man, I love it. Yeah. Natalie looks horrified. Why?
No, do you know what it is? Because all this time, I thought I was there. But
it's different levels.
It's something else.
I didn't know I could do that.
I think orgasms, there's some people that have orgasms, but they don't realise they're having orgasms. So I had a lady come to me saying that she doesn't orgasm. She's been with her partner for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. So I said to her, explain to me what you feel. And she said, oh, I get like a few twitches at last.
1 minute, yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
I get a few twitches that last a couple of seconds. I said, that's your orgasm. And she's like, that's it. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh. And I said, what were you expecting? So I think sometimes, obviously it's different for every woman, but I think some women have this kind of notion in their mind that it's going to last, 3-4 minutes, and they get quite disappointed. But when I explained to her that there's different types of orgasms, you have the internal orgasm, you have an external orgasm, you have a wet orgasm, which is known as squirting, and then you have your dry orgasm, which is the contractions. She understood it better. She was like, oh, okay. So I have been coming. I said, yes, but it hasn't been as intense because there's other issues maybe going on around the relationship, but you do orgasm.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't think that, because I know when I have an orgasm, trust me. I have not experienced it. Oh dear. I don't know where Nikki's gone, but I might share the screen myself.
The egg doesn't always move. I think it depends like where your mindset's at, how things are in the relationship. There's a lot of
things. She's back.
I'm back.
Hey,
okay,
Nikki.
I was getting ready to share the screen. Sorry, babes. What was you saying?
Who? Oh.
You. Yeah.
No, I was just saying that there's, it depends, like how intense your orgasm is depends on a lot of factors, like, how much you're connected to your partner, how much you trust your partner, what's going on in the relationship, what's going on with you, like within yourself, how connected you feel to yourself. All of these things can have an effect
An impact,
or the quality of your orgasms and the intensity of your orgasms.
Yeah. All right, let's just whiz through these comments. I think as well, sometimes, I don't know, let me choose my words carefully, but there might be sometimes you might say to your partner, I'm going to come, and then they just start going faster when actually, why do you do that? Don't do that.
Yeah, they start changing the rhythm. What are you doing?
No, Stop getting all excited and hey, and no, that's not what you need to do. Stay at the same pace.
Carry on doing what you're doing,
and I will get there. Don't start getting overzealous. But yeah,
that's
that helps.
communication. That's where the communication comes in.
Yeah,
communication is key. Like, babes, keep it right there. Don't change anything. Just keep it there.
Yeah. It's true. It is true. We have to speak up about what it is that we want as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, most of them are well, Tracy was saying, not sure about the days. However, you dug yourself out of the hole you was digging with your closing statement, but you know you can do all that in less than a day, right? Good old Roger. Yeah.
We do love our so much.
But Sabian Mohammed said, disagree. It's for both. Women probably benefit more because it takes a bit to get all those nerve endings firing, but getting head is foreplay for some men as it is for some women.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sabian. Thank you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, everyone's saying, it depends on how people roll, and force. It depends on an individual. So, as we know.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some more there. Hang on, let's have a look.
All this dirty lot, I've got a lot to say
I'm
about
telling
this.
you.
Look at you. Look at all you.
Exactly. Asia said it's for both. Different aspects of foreplay work more for a woman, but you both have to be in it to win it.
Like that.
Asia. Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah.
What else is there? For both, it's both. To Lorene.
Yeah, Lorene Forrester says,
I would agree it's for both. It's a turn on to turn someone on. Very true. Although in my experience, men rise to the occasion sometimes without even without physical contact. But it can take a while longer for a woman to get happy. Not always though. Very true. Because again, it depends. It depends. Ellie has said it's defo for the woman. Men get aroused so easily. But, I think just because a man's got a hard on, what does that mean? Does that mean it is good and ready to go? Not. And again, not all men are the same. Just because he's got a hard on doesn't mean that might just be the beginning for some of them. They need that.
right.
Joe Smith has said, false. Me personally, I love a woman who wants to play with me and make me feel good. Love it. Just as I love to play with a woman to make her feel good. And I will give Joe Smith a round of applause as well, because he deserves it.
Ian said, it's for both women and men. Just got to make sure it's 50-50. Too many people like to receive and not give. And even when they do give, it's with no real enthusiasm. Because I'm thinking of somebody in particular. One of my peeps refuses to give head, but she'll take it.
Yeah, I know someone like that. That's all I'm gonna say before she beats me up.
Yeah.
But there's men like that too. There's men like that they like to see, but they don't like to give.
They're not gonna give. Yeah.
Harder.
Nothing ain't happening if not reciprocated.
Yeah, you shouldn't have an expectation. I think if you're not, you're not willing to do something, you shouldn't expect. If the person wants to do it to you, and that's whether it's a man or the woman, that's absolutely fine. But you should not request something or expect it if you're not willing to do it.
Nah, she doesn't request or expect. If they don't want to do it, then she's not going to be like, you have to do it. But she's like, don't go down on me thinking I'm going to go down. It ain't happening. It's really up to you. And I think it's freaking hilarious, but they all seem to go down on there anyway. So,
and to be honest,
fair play. Ian, what else did he say? He said, there's no real enthusiasm. Some people have to be taught. They don't know their way around their partner's body, and many think they do as well.
Again, communication, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's true. And even going back to the head thing, right?
Stop the share, Nick, and then we'll go back.
Let me tell you something and keep it 100%. The only reason that I would do it, it's not because I absolutely loved the act at all. It's because I want it. Yeah. So let me just do it because you can't do them things. Do you know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't necessarily be that I had to learn to like it even. And even then I could just like it. Sometimes I do it begrudgingly when I was sexually active with my partner at the time. It would be begrudgingly in my head. I think, fuck's sake, I don't want to do it. That's what I would feel like in my head. But I loved it so much that I had to do it because I thought, no, you can't do that. So that was the reason. But they still thought it was amazing. And I used to think, how? Because I'm really hating this right now. So how is it good in any way, shape or form? But that is why I did it. Otherwise, I would never, I didn't like it. And even then, now I don't mind it, but I don't love it.
Yeah. It's not my favourite thing on the menu, but I'll eat from time to time.
I can roll my eyes sometimes, like when I was sexually active. When I'm in one of those moods, I'll be like, oh, okay, in my head.
Yes, and I was just gonna say it's a good thing that my face can't be seen because sometimes.
But there's a whole community of men out there who will happily indulge.
Yeah.
Without wanting anything in return. So maybe one of those men is better for you because they don't want anything in return. Their pleasure comes from pleasuring.
Yeah.
I saw a post in Black Chat Chocolate Spread, yeah. Shout out to Jessie. And it said, when I give head, the pleasure is not for you, it's for me. I will keep going, and if you die, you die. I was like, what's your number? I actually put that as a comment, it's a joke, but yeah. But there's some people that seem to be really, that's what
like,
they
I'm trying to die from a head overdose today. What's the number?
Yeah. Stressed out. Yeah, could do stress release, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's definitely something that used to it just felt like a chore, like, oh my God, this is so awful. This is just the worst thing ever. I think as well, I enjoyed it, so you can't do that. And then because of obviously who it was with, you don't mind it so much.
Yeah.
I do believe that it's the connection that you have with the partner.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
There might be something that repulses you with one partner, but another partner, you can't get enough of it because of that, who the person is.
Yeah. And unless it's a cocktail sausage, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world to be doing. I mean, there's more as a woman, you know what I mean? I feel like you got to really like that person differently.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Some people have said to me they like the power that like having that power and watching the man's reaction and having that power, and I can see that. I'm getting inbox messages. Someone said, "No orgasm." Wow, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people that I know, you know, like we grew up in the boom bye bye days and Bowcat days, Bowcat for dead and all these things. But I'm like grown people now, so it's not necessarily that. I do feel like, for me, like I said, there's been years of celibacy for me in my life. So when I am sexually active, I would have to really like the person anyway. So it's not no big thing because I already feel connected if I'm there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
because you would have already built up that connection before you got to that stage.
Yeah, so I don't really look at it like how we used to look at it as kids. Now, to me, it's just part of sex. But
yeah, definitely.
I do think there's a lot of people still today that have those thoughts, like, oh, I'm a dirty girl, or if I do it, or some guys still say, I wouldn't expect my wife to do it.
Or they, I've heard a guy turn around and say that no, his wife is not doing it.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that he wants to pay for someone to do. Are you mad?
It's weird. Yeah.
Are you crazy?
No,
it's got
he's
like
just
connotation
like,
to it.
yeah. No, that's how.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's in the book of hoe excuses. Like that's your excuse to try and hoe it out.
Exactly. No, I agree. Because that's what I said. I said, but how do you know your wife doesn't want to do it to you?
Exactly.
You don't even know. You're just saying that because she's your wife, you know, there's this element of dirtiness. Like, my wife can't do that. What do you mean? Who else is going to do it? That was my reaction. Exactly. Who else is going to do that? Because if my husband tells me he cheated on me because I didn't give him a blowjob, then are you mad? Are you actually dumb? Like,
but I think it's because those men probably back in the day used to call women that did it all derogatory names.
Dirty girl,
so there's an internal conflict now. So it's like, right, if I think girls that do that are dirty, how am I going to expect my wife to do that? Because that means she's going to be dirty, because I believe that women that do this are dirty. So that's something to do with his mentality and his own internal conflicts.
Yeah,
because it is a healthy part of, I think that whatever a couple wants to do within the confinement of their bedroom is them. As long as they're both comfortable with it, they're both happy, no one's being violated if they want to be violated, you know, what goes on in the bedroom stays in the bedroom.
Could be anywhere. I mean,
you know,
you could do what you like, where you like, what you like.
So do you think,
if I give consent and he gives consent, then that's down to us.
Yeah. So whatever goes on, wherever.
Saying that, right? You know, there's like people have an expectation of how soon you should sleep with someone when you meet them, or if you're seeing someone not together. Yeah. What do you think? That's the same thing. Like, okay, so you might have broke the barrier of sleeping with someone, but how soon do you start doing things like giving head and doing all that extra stuff?
Do you know what? I saw this thing on YouTube, right? And it was talking
receiving about immediately, but giving when? When does that start? Sorry.
This thing that's on YouTube, and I don't agree with it. It was like, if you like someone, something you should never ever do, like on the first time you sleep together, if you want to be a long-term relationship, is have oral sex. I think that's a load of nonsense.
Right.
I think it's whenever both parties feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't think that, everyone has to set their own moral compass. So I personally wouldn't have sex with someone the first time I meet them. However, I wouldn't condemn someone that did, because there's couples that have slept together on the first date. They're married, 10, 20 years later. It just all depends on the individuals and the chemistry that you have. Yeah.
Well, little Kim said the moral of the story is this: if you're not licking it, you're not sticking it. And I agree.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
If you're not licking it, you're not going to put it in.
Oh, shame. Every time?
If you're not licking it, you're not sticking it.
Do you remember that song? Right. Little Kim, don't you remember when she...
Yeah, I remember that song.
You lot must remember that.
Yes.
Oh. And then she says, the moral of the story is this: you ain't licking this, you ain't sticking. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. But yeah, and I agree. Like, I'm not gonna. We're not high school. I don't think you should have run around putting everyone's penis in your mouth.
No.
I do think it should be reserved for people that you are serious with. But I don't think you should be condemned or shamed for it either.
No.
Basically.
And I think what goes on in people's bed. Oh, Olu wants the link.
Tell Olu to check his WhatsApp, man. Olu's a joker.
Olu,
where you been, bro? Where you been?
Yeah, we don't even want you to come on now, Olu. Go away.
Because he's going to keep us on it for a good another 2 hours.
Get out of there. He aired us for 2 hours.
I feel like there's a lot of...
on there.
Who sets these social standards anyway?
Exactly.
Who sets them?
Yeah.
Some
people that are
man.
breaking the rules, people that are doing all sorts of stuff behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're at an age and we're at a time in our life where we can do what the hell we like, and so can everybody else. So I'm not in no position to cast no moral judgment on anybody that I feel might be doing something a bit different to me.
Yeah.
You know, and the vice versa. If I say I've done X, Y, and Z, then please don't come with your judgmental self clutching your pearls, saying that I'm wrong or whatever else, because it's me I'm talking about, my experience in my life. Do you know what I mean? And same for me. And I am very scornful. I must tell you this.
Me too.
I'm quite a scornful person, and it tells in my face. You know, I've tried to learn how to have the poker face, but the glasses help sometimes. But when I haven't got the glasses on, like, people see my eyes and they think, Nick, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, nothing. Because, you know, and it really does tell. But I don't try to judge. But the confusion sets in. I'm like, shit. And like I said before, I ask a lot of questions. So I might be like, really? Oh, but what about this, and this? And it might come across that I'm being judgmental, or, you know, but I try not to be. But I am very, very interested in people and their experiences. So,
yeah. I hear that, because I feel that I can be quite a prude in that way. Like, to be fair, I'm saying this, but I'm not very open sexually. I really need a connection with someone, and then I usually just invest all my sexual energy into that one person. I can't usually, I can't think it outside of that. So I'm not sexually open and free like that with loads of individuals. So because of that, that's just because of the kind of person I am. I can be quite introverted anyway. And I like kind of like my set, you know, circle. So I think what I used to think, so you went and did that and did that and did that. Are you okay? Do you get what I'm saying? I used to think like that. But I think as you grow, and I take it back to as you grow spiritually as well, you honestly understand about judgment.
Yeah.
And so even sexually, no, it's not my path. No, it's not my road. But that's just because that's just the kind of person I am. It's not naturally because of thingy. It's because I'm quite to myself, and I'm quite in that area. I'm quite shy. So it takes a lot, and I physically need that connection. I cannot do it without it.
Yeah.
I cannot give. You know, my face reads everything that I'm thinking, and so I'm very scornful as well. I'm like, oh no. But what I don't do anymore, what I haven't done for a good few years now, is that I don't, if someone's telling me something or you learn something about someone, I don't think, what is that's not like, you know, that's nasty. What's wrong with you? Like, why are you doing that? It's everyone's own journey, and there's no shame in it if you ain't got shame in it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Funny.
That's very true.
Exactly. And also, you don't have to tell people your business.
Yeah,
that too. We've got into a culture where we like to talk about everything with everyone. If you are doing particular things that you feel that people may frown upon, why does anyone need to know? It's between you and whoever you're sleeping with.
Yeah.
And if people are having a conversation, because you know the ones where you're in a group and people are talking about certain things, they're like, yeah, that's disgusting, and you just keep quiet.
You're there like, is it?
You're like, oh, is it? Did that yesterday?
Okay. Or why is it disgusting? Like, why it might be disgusting for you, but it doesn't mean it's disgusting for others. There's maybe things that you do that other, like, you know, people might think is disgusting. You know, so who are we to judge? And like, you know, I learned the hard way not to be judgmental, because a lot of the times in life we say, I'd never do this, I'd never do that, I'd never do the other. But until you're in a situation, you don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I've learned that as well.
I wouldn't want to use the word judge, but have been concerned, because I had an acquaintance that I thought she was quite liberated sexually, and I quite enjoyed listening to her sexcapades and how free she was, until actually I realised it wasn't coming from a place of liberation. It was coming from quite a damaged place, and then I became concerned. It wasn't just, or it wasn't. She wasn't in control as much as we thought she was, as much as she thought she was.
Right.
Controlling it, then it becomes concern. So if it's situations like that, but no, I'm not the girl
Yeah, but you're not judging her. You're concerned
You're
about her
concerned.
welfare. It wasn't out of judgment, thinking,
No,
"Oh, you're nasty."
No,
It's-
when she was doing certain things, I'd be like, I could never do that, but tell me more. All excited. I love listening to people's sex beds, especially when you're sitting here celibate. It's
Oh, Trish.
you know what I mean? Like, really? This, like, tell me more. But when you're not in control of it and it's coming from quite a damaged place, and actually you've got some daddy issues and inner child issues that you might want to heal, then it's suddenly not so cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what is it about humans that love to hear about other people's sex lives? What is it? Because we do get quite excited.
Just exciting. It's
We do.
exciting. Because you think that they're doing stuff, even though we know what sex is like and stuff, but it's just exciting hearing somebody else's excitement. I get excited at someone else's excitement, whether it be
experiences.
Yeah.
Things
And
that I would never do, because I wouldn't have anal sex.
Yeah.
But some of my friends that have had it have told me how fantastic it is. So I enjoy listening to it because I know I'm never going to experience it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have any of you ever got turned on by hearing about something that was not conventional and you felt disgusted at yourself that you got turned on by it?
Yeah.
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 But there's certain like things that someone's told me, and I was like, I should really not be getting excited about this, but why am I feeling excited?
Yeah.
So I think there's
I
something
know.
in the human
like,
psyche, like taboos.
Yeah. You're like, this is terrible. Tell me more.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Oh dear. Yeah, should we move on to the next
Let me
slide?
see what else is on there.
Yeah.
Olu's